Hello everybody, and thank you for watching this video. If you do like what you've seen here, please make sure to hit the like button, and if you want to see the content more often, please hit subscribe. Comment below, that helps us out so much. I could not be here without you, and your help is everything to me. Thank you very much, and enjoy the video. Hello everybody, and welcome back. I'm going to bring you through a walkthrough of how I actually completed this jump that you just saw in the video. My first time up at this location, which I've been looking at for a long time, since 2011. I pretty much just wanted to see what it was like to be up there. I didn't want to stick around too long. Obviously, I just went up, took a look at the jump to see how far it was for my eyes, and immediately got down. I went back to the lab, that's the gym, and set up a similar jump for what I felt was going on in that location. Obviously, this is the first time I've done any major big jumps with my knee in the condition it's in, and I was feeling pretty strong and confident after a good warm-up. This was my best jump of that day. Yes! I came back a few days later to work some more on it, and I was finding myself continuously doing this stupid crane thing.
Alright, if I crane it again, I'm just going to stop because you can't get a habit of that. It's good to have it as an option for me when I'm doing the actual thing, but I need to be focusing on getting 2 feet to the target. And I'm not afraid to stop for the day and just call it quits at the beginning if I don't think things are going my way. And just change the training up. I could go do some conditioning or something like that. But I'm not gonna, I need to keep my mental state clear. The clearness I need to be doing here is I'm not trying to precision, I'm not trying to stick the landing. Just trying to get 2 feet to the line and then jump. I'm trying to jump past it. Because if I jump to the line and I don't make it, I can bounce back. And I don't want to do that because I'm gonna story up. So I'm going to have to jump past this. And so I have to tell myself that is what I need to do. So that's what I'm going to do, and if I don't do it, then I'll have to come back another day. See, now I've broken past the barrier, and now the rest of them, I can move on from that point. Alright, so just compressed my ankle right there. I'll see how it feels in a little bit, but that might be it for the day. One of the blocks when I was running turned to the side, so that kind of killed my run up, but something like that happens up there. I want to know that I can still push forward and make it, and I did make it, but it was just more pressure in my ankle than I wanted. So I'm gonna walk around a little bit, see if that tones down, and then do it again if I can. So unfortunately, I feel like my ankle is kind of in a weakened state now, so I don't want to keep pushing that. Just compressed it. I feel like it wouldn't be a good idea to continue. So I'm going to come back to this a different day and keep working more toward it. But it's something you kind of have to just deal with when you're pushing the limits of something that you can do and not let it get to your head. I'm not going to let it get to my head. There's plenty of other challenges I'm working on that I can do that don't require me to go maximum jumps right now. Like right now I have to do I have to work on my rail Kongs because I have to start doing that to get this other roof mission that I want to do. And there's this little rail Kong that I have to do at the beginning of the line. But I'm not familiar with rail Kong, so I'm going to go practice that. But yeah, I kind of can feel in my foot. I mean, it feels pretty good back and forth here, but when I add weight to it, it feels a little weak. And it's not smart to train on something that feels in a weakened state like that. It's just asking for trouble. So I'm going to come back a different day, maybe when I feel a little bit more awake, to do this one again, to practice it. Maybe do some more measurements at the spot itself, get comfortable with that kind of thing, and then possibly go for that again. So that's it. I'm going to keep training. Keep training.
I returned back to the spot the next week and just decided to do some measurements of my own. I was testing the landing area to see what it would feel like. This is one thing that, unfortunately, in our video at the end of us doing the jump, you don't get to see landing as well and realize the amount of technicality we're going through. for that landing, because it's a small area to jump to, and you have to jump a little bit to the side just because of the way the setup is. This ramp that's at an angle that you could maybe land on it, but I didn't feel comfortable doing that. So I was going to work on just landing to the side on the precision area and then traveling up the ramp.
First couple of times I go to anything recently, because I'm not pressured to get it right then and there, I just go up there and kind of get used to the scenery so that I can become accustomed to that area. For this type of a jump, especially because of how big it is for me, I want to be very familiar with it. So I was testing out the terrain, seeing how my footing would be on the landing, if I had to drop down the cat, how that would be, if it was slippery, if the floor is crumbly. So I visited both areas, did some measurements to see how much room I actually have to do the jump itself. If I can, I do want to run down from the side and go straight into it versus stop, figure out my spacing and go. But we'll see what it brings, because I'm not going to rush into something like that lightly. So in any case, right now I'm just getting measurements and seeing how I feel with the jump itself. Already from the first time I went up there, which I didn't get the best video footage of, but this is my second time going up there. Already I'm feeling a lot better about the situation. Again, I talked before about when you're doing certain types of jumps and how you draw the jump into you versus focusing on how far away the jump is. Because when you first go there, you do want to see how far away it is, but you want to go with what your mind is doing, what your fear is doing. Is your fear pushing it farther away from you, or is it bringing it closer to you? And what I mean by that is your fear blocking you from bringing the jump closer to you, or is it forcing you out of fear to push it farther away? And what you want to be doing is bringing it further in, closer to you, so it looks like it's as close to you as it would be to do a small jump on the ground. That's how you know that you're ready to do the jump, is when you see it like that and you're like, oh, okay, this is actually close to me. And that's just kind of the way I approach those things. So we'll see how it goes next training session. I'm gonna go do some rehab work, and then if my leg is feeling okay, I will actually go do some jump distance training in the gym.
Because my ankle was still sore, I decided to jump to a softer surface, still focusing on distance.
That thing look familiar to you? That's the thing that I did my reawakening drop to. So if you're interested in that, please check out this video. I have it in the little card that goes to the side with a little exclamation point. However, the other day I was training for it, talked about it a little bit. It's a helicopter about to fly over me. It's gonna be a little loud, so let's just wait for that to happen. Okay, so I tried training for this yesterday and ended up getting hurt in the process. I didn't properly warm up for it. I compressed my ankle because during the run-up, one of the boxes shifted on me, and so I was like, well, this might, what if the ground comes tumbling out from underneath me while I'm doing this run? I got to make sure I get the jump, otherwise I'll fall to my death. So, which I won't fall to my death. It's only a one-story jump, but drop. But I went through with the run and I jumped still to my practice area, and I made it. But when I landed full compression, and so it kind of was a damper for that training day, because I was supposed to get some good training in that day. So I had to call it quits earlier that day. That was yesterday, but when I came back today, I said, okay, you know what, I'll just set up a softer landing area so I can still train the distance of the jump, but I still have to get the landing of it down. So I was able to do that today. Did a few times too, this kind of the jump, and again, I'm overtraining the jump because I want to be able to go farther than what the jump requires. Right now it's at about 12 steps. I'm jumping to something that's about 12 and a half steps, 12 and a half of my steps. So yeah, training went really well today. I'm really happy that I was able to get the energy or the speed and the to do it without too many attempts, because that tells me that I'm starting to channel or tune into my maximum output of jump real quickly without having to do a ton of repeats, and I don't like having to do that. I know there's something good about that as well for safety reasons, but when you can really channel into that and be able to say, okay, I feel confident so long as I run as fast as I need to, and you train yourself to do that, that's going to be so much better. It says so much about your training if you can do that. So yeah, today's training was pretty good, and my next set of training, hopefully after my ankle heals up a little bit more. It's a little sore right now, just nothing too bad. I can do a ton of stuff on it still, it's just kind of sore. But hopefully after that, I'll be able to go ahead and do this to some practice boxes, so I really get the feeling of the impact a few times. And when I do this, I don't train it a ton because I don't want to do a ton of impacts right now. I feel like I don't need to anymore, and I really am only doing it just so I can see what it's like at that speed or that kind of power. So that'll be my next set of training. Stay tuned for that, and yeah, talk to you soon. Bye.
Slightly different setup here. Starting to train to jump to a smaller elevated surface with a distance a little bit farther than I'm comfortable doing. So that was all about today's training, just getting a longer run up like I'll have for the actual jump itself, and seeing what it's like to jump to an elevated surface.
One of the things I keep encountering with this particular jump is I'll go up to the jump, I'll approach it, I'll look at it, and I'll say yes, and then, because I can see that the distance feels good to me, and then I'll walk back to where I'm supposed to run from, and my body will be like, what if you do this? What if you do that? That's called second guessing yourself. You have to go with what feels right. And if you look at the jump initially and it says yes, when it's clear in your mind that it's time for you to do it, then that's the feeling you need to focus on. All the other stuff that starts coming in there, you have to channel it out, get rid of it, get rid of the noise. That is part of this type of training, is getting rid of all that clutter that's going on inside there, the self-doubt that's in there. It's there for a reason, and that's why I'm training in this fashion, because I want to be sure that I can make this jump. But it's still there, and I have to really make sure I'm listening to the positive parts of my psyche and not the ones that are holding me back. Whoa! That's a pretty damn good bounce off. But the amount of power, I am really reaching the maximum capacity of my jump at this running distance. So I'm making sure that I'm able to more than cover the distance. So fear-wise, you know, fear and strength begets confidence, okay? And you're afraid of the things that you're not strong doing. That's really what's going on there, because you don't have the strength to explore that area. That's why I'm trying to push myself to do this jump, because it's going to allow me to overcome both, well, it's going to allow me to overcome fear, but it's also going to allow me to push my strength and my speed, my power, everything that really encompasses the ability to overcome something like this. I'm having to overcome the height, the fear of that, the maximum distance as well. It's not even the height that really scares me. It's how far away it is, and the fact that I'm only going to get one shot at hitting this correctly. I'm not going to die by any means. I'm not even going to, you know, I can bounce down to the floor. I'll be just fine. But someone that trains with the mindset that I do, that if you don't make it, you died. You know, that's really the idea you have to have in your head when you're doing this kind of stuff, because that's what pushes you to go further. How fast can you run? Oh, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Just shy of 13 steps. Let's go take a look at the location. So I'm heading over to the jump spot. I don't intend to jump it today, so sorry. But yeah, I'm taking my time with this. I mean, I feel very awake today. And yes, the first time I'm gonna do it, I am gonna have a mat down. I have one of those bouldering mats from Mad Rock. So it won't offer a ton of protection, but at least if I happen to land in an odd way, it can help. So I will have one of those down the first time I attempt this. And I may attempt it 1 to 3 times, based on how I feel, how it goes. So I'm gonna going down there right now and checking it out, see if the distance feels the same as it has before. All right, so I'm right beneath the jump area. Luckily, this top right here is exactly lined up with this line. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that makes me feel a lot better because I've been training for 13. Now, one thing that is kind of concerning me is that the thing I was jumping up to was maybe half a foot, and it looks like the lip, you can see right there, that lip that goes up is going to be about a foot and a few inches higher than what I trained for. So yeah, hopefully next time I'm out here at this location, I'll be doing this jump. Probably going to bring a friend or two out to take a look at it. People that can jump a lot better than I can, so maybe they'll join me with it. But we can't stay around here very long because it is a public shopping area, and yeah, you got to respect that. And I don't feel like being caught or anything like that, or having someone get in trouble. So you get in, you get out, you do your skill, you train for it, you're respectable. That's how it should be done. All right, I'm back at the lab again. And I set up a run up that is equal to the amount of distance I will have on top of the structure. And I've set the distance a little farther than the structure is itself. Of course, overtraining. It's a lot harder because I have to jump up a lot higher than I expected. But the good thing is that I don't feel it's impossible, and I'm overtraining it, like I said, to go beyond. So, doing the best I can.
Finally, we're out here training for the big jump. Brought the guys out for support and to do the jump with me. And we're doing our final preparations at the location itself. That's Seth. That's me. And Christopher is out here as well.
Set?
I'm good to go.
All right. Do it. All right, so we finally did the big 5 jump. I'm here with Seth.
I'm too excited. I can't stay calm.
Christopher and his brother are in front of us. We definitely got some attention, so we're out of here. But that's how you do it. Someone tells you to get out, you get out. And
one and done.
One and done. We all did it. One and done. There was no putzing around. It was good stuff. Really, what's it called when you're like a manifest about training? I don't know. It just says a lot about, you know, how many hours we're putting into this sport, and how much that can really transfer to being up high, you know?
I think, and like the mentality behind just putting in all that training, what you're thinking about really goes to show that it can affect what you're capable of.
Absolutely. So we're gonna go reconvene in the park, probably see some of the video footage, which we were so lucky to have Corey there, and he had such a better device to film this on, with the low light conditions especially. So thank you, man, for being there. I've been training for this jump for...
I think I can sum it up for Francesco. He's been talking about it for weeks, like just watching him train every single challenge, every goal he sets, he just goes into the gym and outside and visits the spot multiple times a week. He just like trains it until he's comfortable with it, and he was definitely comfortable. And thank you for leading the way through that jump. That's so exciting. That's not something that I would have seen on my own, and if I had, it's not something I would do on my own.
Yeah, the jump, definitely, I don't want to make this sound like anything we do is easy, because I overtrained this jump. Like, I literally was trained. This was a 12-step, about a 12-step of mine jump, maybe like 11 and a half.
That's overtraining on top of overtraining, because you've already been training for 10 years and you decided to specialize in this particular challenge.
I mean, you saw how anal I was about when we were practicing earlier, and I was like, no, this is how many steps I need, this is how far the way the thing is, you can't change it. Like, you saw how much I was like getting like that. So
even jumping to the side like 10 degrees diagonally to adjust for that.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of looking down one time before we went. And,
I don't think that was a mistake. I think you hadn't been up there really.
Yeah, it was something.
You know, I think it was something.
And accept.
I mean, I walked to the edge, and because I have, anytime I do a big jump, I have to walk to the edge, look at the other side, and say yes or no. And then if I say yes, I back up and do it. And if I'm inconclusive, that tells me I'm either not ready or I have to take more time practicing, like at a different, and go back up there again. Sometimes I will do that, but for these kind of things, when you have to get out of the way and just go, it's important.
We're just wrapping up thoughts on that jump.
It was a beautiful jump.
It was a beautiful jump.
I was a little scared of it at first, definitely. I mean, that's a pretty big drop, but I saw you do it. I'm like,
we all trained together a lot.
Yeah, we trained together a lot, so we know our.
Let the fat guy go first. Good job.
Oh my gosh.
But no, I think it was really clean.
Jumps are hard.
I'll be really happy to keep pushing it with you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that too.
Yeah, another thing about it too is, when I went, I was like, I don't think I have enough speed for this jump. When I was running for it, and I was like, jump anyway, because I couldn't stop at that point. So, but the thing is, I knew, like, when I felt comfortable going after it, and my feet just both hit the edge, and I was like, I'm up, I'm out of here. So
I have two things to add on that, and the first is that, like, I didn't feel like a full mental process, like walking through it. Like, it was very much, we prepped it on the ground, we walked up, and when I'm standing up there, like, ready to go for the jump, yes, I did my walk up, and that whole process took about a minute, I would say, but which was a minute longer than I wanted to spend on it, right? But still, that's incredibly fast to go through the motions and say, like, not waste time thinking about what could go wrong. I was focused 100% on what I need to do to make it happen right and correctly, and like to finish that thought on like the Max Henry scale, which I learned about at like Jump Fest, on like a 1 to 10 on my mental comfortability with that, or the mental challenge that I had with that, I would put that at a 7. Yeah. It's like a very solid, like, scary challenge, and I think in the future I can see it going down to a 6, but right now that was definitely like a very high, maybe even like an 8, like very scary, and I dealt with it really fast, so I'm very proud of like the way we handled it.
I think we all did. I almost feel like there's two separate scales that you kind of have to rely on. There's solo training and then there's team training, and like
that's fair. It was mentally way easier watching but I went last, so I will also say that I went last and like watched them both kill it.
Yeah, but I mean, I probably would have gone first too. Just being up there with you guys in general, like my confidence is already higher. So like that's a whole different scale than if I was by myself. Because if I'm by myself, like I put into a lot of different perspectives.
Less doubt to deal with as a team.
I don't know what happens if I fall. I don't know what like I'll just be stranded there.
That is true. Yeah, things that we don't have to second guess together.
Yeah, but it's weird. Like as soon as I went over the edge to get to like the run-up platform, like it took me all of like 5 seconds just to look at the runway, and then I had everything planned out, and I just all went out the window. I just go faster.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that's the point, is you hope, because when you're up there, this is something I've learned from Rafe Kelly, is like in the middle of skill work, you can't be thinking about these little things that involve that take your mind away from skill. Because really what has to happen is everything about what you're doing is all focusing on just moving. So if you focus on anything except for one exact thing, which was just go fast, get your feet there, you know, that kind of thing, then anything beyond that, like if you like squeeze your glutes or something stupid like that, like it's just too much going on. You're overloading your system with survival at that point. So, you know, I wouldn't put this in the adrenaline phase of stuff, because I do feel very calm. I mean, I didn't celebrate or anything. I just hit and I came down.
All the adrenaline came after for me. Like, I admittedly fell victim to like adrenaline of just like pure excitement and like joy that I did that. And none of it, but prior to, like, there was almost no feelings or thoughts like, at all. Yes, come here, Corey. Corey, you were like training with us just earlier. Like, what are your thoughts on like watching that process? And, like,
yeah, Corey did a really far lache like on his 5th try.
Beat me too.
Like he's a Smithian, so.
I don't know. You guys are just insane. Like, I don't even know how you could, like how I don't know how you managed to jump off buildings and actually survive. But
well, I mean, you think about what we can do on the floor, right? And if you just eliminate the idea of falling, then isn't that the same thing?
I guess so.
Yeah, a little bit.
There's an old Daniel Ilabaka proverb that goes, choose not to fall. That's it.
I guess it's no different than like motorcycle
Anything,
riding.
yeah.
It's like,
I mean, we were like
you just do it good enough.
Yeah, know your skill, train it,
we
and
were like carving canyons at like 80 miles an hour yesterday. So, and that's, I think, potentially more dangerous than what we did today, but we've done it so long. But it starts speaking second nature. You trust yourself and you know you're going to do.
all right, cool. Talk to you soon.